Hey everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to The Infinite Me. And in case we haven't met before, I'm Nat. Over there is Mandy. And I guess we've taken a little while to come on here and talk about the big elephant in the room, the coronavirus. And I guess give a perspective from the place that we always come from, which is the infinite. And how can you approach life right now, and a perspective where we are tapping into the infinite space rather than getting caught in all the craziness that's going on in the outside world. And, you know, Mandy and I both agree. We're actually just sitting here talking about it, and then it's like, oh, we should just go live and have this same conversation because, yeah, it's interesting. It's a very different way of looking at things, and to what you might be reading in the media right now and a lot of social media and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, so we wanted to have a different chat, basically how to reclaim your power in these uncertain times, because right now you're probably feeling like life is out of control, the world is out of control, it's just absolute chaos. You don't know what's going to happen next. It's changing 5 minutes to 5 minutes, literally, right now. And it's really hard to continue on the path that you probably have been on, which is sort of a little bit planned, a little bit structured. You sort of have some degree of certainty. As humans, we actually need that certainty to feel okay and comfortable. And right now we don't have that. And so all that's been ripped away. So it's really, really interesting that we find ourselves in this space in 2020. And yeah, so we want to have a little bit of a chat about that.
Yes. Yep. I think most people kind of felt that 2020 was going to be a big year, like a different year, like changing of the guard almost or something. There was this definite sense of energy around coming into 2020, but I definitely would not have thought this was going to be part of 2020.
It was flowing actually quite nicely before this.
Kind of interesting. So, but from that bigger picture perspective, as Nat's saying, it's like, not why is this happening? It's not even a question of that. It's just like, how is this happening for us? Because everything is always happening for us, and the universe is always, it's always here to support us, to empower us, to see the bigger truth, to know that we are the power. We always have the power. It's never outside of us. So in this times, uncertain times, as Nat said, where everything is changing, literally minute to minute, things are just getting announced left, right, and centre. I know here in Australia. And just witnessing what's kind of going on around the world, everywhere else, we kind of got a little bit of a advantage, I guess, that we're kind of seeing it happen in other countries too. And so you would think that would give you a chance to respond, but then you get all these uncertainties coming out from government saying one thing and health officials saying another thing. And so there is all this conflicting kind of information going on right now, which is probably what gives people more uncertainty than anything. Like people can really handle hard information when they're told the facts, and that's not happening right now. And I think that's why people are getting so panicky. But it's just a very good reminder to kind of to take your power back out of all of those things, because nobody can give you that certainty. Nobody knows what's going on right now. So it's almost like one of those big tests that we've been given right now. So it's like absolutely nobody in the world knows what's happening right now. There's not one single person that will be able to tell you what's going to happen, how's this going to unfold, how many people are going to be affected, is my business going to be okay, how long are we going to have to isolate for? Like, nobody can answer those questions. So it's kind of, we're almost being given a really big invitation right now to do the one thing that you can do, which is sit in your own sense of power. Like, it's the only thing that you have got right now that nobody else can take away from you. So it's so important to do that right now.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect opportunity to do that and to follow your intuition. Like, if ever there was a time to follow that inner voice and block out the chaos that's going on outside, it's right now. To actually start following that inner voice and that feeling, because that's the part that's guiding everything in your life, is that intuition. And that's the thing is always going to do right by you. No matter what goes on in the outside world, and not forgetting the outside world is just a storyline. So whatever's happening in the storyline right now, and the storyline is crazy, absolutely nuts, then it is about coming back inside. It forces you to come back inside because of what you're saying, man. Like, there's so much uncertainty. in the outside world right now, that you have to come back inside to actually feel that inner certainty, and tap back in. And we are being forced to do that. And we're being forced in such interesting ways right now because, we have to isolate. So there's a lot of people that would be out there right now going, holy shit, I've actually got to spend time in my own space. That's a bit freaky. Yeah. And because people just don't do that. Like we just have entertainment the entire time in our storyline, that we don't do that. And now we're being forced to do that. The people that don't normally do that are being forced to do that. And so, of course, there's a bigger picture at play right now in terms of, sorry, I just lost my train of thought then. To actually, really tap in and sit with those feelings that are coming up right now. Like, it was really interesting yesterday, I think it was. So we found out that our house sit had cancelled in Colombia, where we're supposed to be going next. So that was sort of early April. So they closed all their borders, and the homeowners weren't going away now. Like, house sits are cancelling left, right, and centre right now. I was like, oh, okay. So we sort of sat with it and went, okay. After that, we're meant to go to Uruguay, and it's like we just called it and just went, no, let's tap again. Like I was saying, like, tap back in. And I was like, Mexico kept coming up. So it's like, then I could justify it by saying, well, we get a 6-month visa and we could just be there and ride it out. We don't have to cross any borders in those 6 months. We can just stay there, and it probably will blow over in 6 months. So it was so that was the justification for it. But before that, I was actually just really strongly feeling Mexico for some reason. So we were talking about that. But as soon as we made that decision that that's what we wanted to do, things started showing up. So we applied for a house sit for 6 months, actually on the beach, on the Pacific side of Mexico. And literally within about 2 hours, we had already spoken to the lady. She'd replied. She said, can you talk? We said, yeah. So we spoke, and then she went, yeah, I'd love you guys to come. My other house sitters that were supposed to be coming actually cancelled yesterday. It's like, oh, flip, okay. So that was it. Like, within 2 hours, we basically filled 6 months of house sits right on the beach. And I was like, wow, okay, that was really crazy. And it all came from a feeling of, no, we're not meant to go to Uruguay. And I knew we were going to disappoint our homeowners down there. Like, it definitely was putting them out. But it didn't feel true to go down there. And so following that feeling led us to where we were meant to be going now. And it's like, wow, this is really interesting. And then sort of realizing that it was going to be another month before they actually were due to go. So it was like, oh, okay, now we've got a month to fill. We can't stay here in Canada much longer, because even like today we found out on Wednesday they're closing the borders. So it's like, okay, we have to get out of here and get into Mexico, because otherwise they're going to close everything. Yeah, before too long. So I was like, oh, we've got to backfill now with a month. Like, it looks like we've got almost a month to fill. And I was like, crap, like, we're going to rent, and like it's sort of one of those things where you're really trying to feel into everything, and like there's so much other noise going on. And sometimes it's really hard to hear that intuitive voice. It's like, and distinguish between what's intuition and what's logic and what's fear and all those things. So we just did lots of research about different things. We talked about different options and stuff like that. We reached out to a few people, and then all of a sudden, just bang, last night, Jody just started getting messages. Like, she put a message into the Mexico Facebook group for house sits, and all of a sudden all these messages were coming in. I was like, oh my God, like, okay. So the time I got off a client call, it was pretty much done. Like, we'd had another 2 house sits lined up to fill exactly those dates before we went to the beach one. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, that was all really weird. Like, after sort of deliberating all day about what we were going to do, and just nothing showing up, nothing sort of giving an inch type thing. And then I was like, bang, it was done. I was like, yeah, oh, that was really weird. Like, so we've secured like 3 house sits in one day, pretty much, to completely cover us for that period of time. And we couldn't have really written the script any more perfect in terms of where we're going to be. We're going to be in a tiny village right on the beach. And it's like, well, we're really out of the way from everyone, and we just get to enjoy ourselves, for a good 5 or 6 months. I was like, wow, like, that really is perfect at the end of the day. Yeah. But not to say that during the day I was actually feeling quite, even after we had arranged that beach sit and stuff, it was quite relieving to get that. I did feel very uncertain and very unsettling before that. We were both definitely tapping into that. But I don't know, I was just in the kitchen and I suddenly just got really overwhelmed and really sad. And I was like, oh, it's weird. Like I don't feel sad for myself because we've actually just had, this beach sit turn up and it's actually a pretty good solution for us and stuff. So it wasn't about that. And I was like, oh, it's actually sort of tapping into the collective consciousness right now. And that's what it felt like, sort of thing. I just felt sad for humanity right now. And so it sort of was an opportunity, I guess, to use the tools that we talk about here, which is sitting with an emotion and feeling and not making it personal to my story. Like my initial thing was, oh, why am I sad? And then I was like, it doesn't matter why I'm sad, sort of thing. I'm just sad, and that's okay. It doesn't need a reason to be sad. And so that sort of really did enable me to actually just sit with that feeling and fully feel it. And then it sort of just dissipated again. It was gone. And I was like, oh, that was really weird. But yeah. It felt to me later, and I was talking to someone later because she was feeling a lot of angst and stuff as well, but making it very personal at the time. And I said, I don't think it's about making these feelings really personal to your story right now. And it's like, oh, I always feel this feeling, or why am I feeling this feeling? And it's like, we are one consciousness at the end of the day. So whatever's going on in the world, we are tapping into that right now. And so if you are feeling overwhelmed or sad or angry or whatever emotions are coming up, they're not personal to your story. They're the collective consciousness that we're all tapping into, particularly if you're sort of quite awake and tuned in. You are going to be feeling some of these things right now. And it's actually okay to be feeling those feelings. In fact, as I said to this friend of mine last night, it's like, this is our way of giving back as conscious beings, to actually work through these feelings that are coming up, because when we work through those feelings, then it releases the energy in it for everybody. Yeah. So even if we're not out there actively helping people, just dealing with our own feelings right now and allowing them to come up without judgment actually is helping people. It's helping people everywhere. Yeah. So,
yeah, and I think the thing to really look at too is that it's okay to be feeling a bit scared or a bit afraid, or there is a lot of uncertainty going around right now, and people are questioning a whole bunch of things depending on where you are in the world. Like there is different things are happening in different parts of the world right now. In Australia, we're at the point where we can kind of see what's going on in Europe and China, and we've kind of got some precedents, if you like, about what's going on. And so it's almost like we know what's coming. Like we know that lockdowns are going to be happening probably pretty soon. Schools are probably going to get shut. Like people are questioning, why hasn't that actually already happened? Given the knowledge that we've already seen overseas, a lot of people are kind of questioning our government's decisions right now about we should be acting quicker, we should be doing these things. And if you own your own business, or you're a casual worker, or you're in an industry that's been really heavily affected, like our brother is a pilot, so it's going to be very interesting for the next 6 months at least for him. What's going to happen? Nobody knows. That's the thing. Nobody can tell you what's going to happen right now. And that's the thing that causes so much uncertainty for people too. So it's okay to feel afraid, even if you're the most spiritual person ever. It's kind of like there's a lot of spiritual communities out there that are telling people, oh, well, if you've done your work, you won't get the virus. And it's just like, it's just a load of crap. It's just like, it doesn't mean anything if you get the coronavirus. Like, it doesn't mean that you're not in alignment. It doesn't mean that you're not using your tools properly, or
you're not infinite.
Like it's just like, it's part of your, if you're going to get it as part of your experience, and it's what that experience will show you about yourself. What, maybe you will have to isolate. I think we'll all have to isolate. I think that's going to be
regardless
everybody. So given that fact that we're all going to have to, either you're already doing it now or you will be doing it very soon, it's giving everybody a chance to kind of do that inner journey, if you like, and kind of spend some time with themselves. And you will have moments of fear probably come up, and that's okay too. Like, and it's just use the tools that you maybe have learned. And if you haven't learned how to do any of that stuff, then now's a really good time to kind of start tapping into, meditation or sitting with yourself in silence, sitting outside in nature as much as you can, just disconnecting as much as you can from that energy of the panic that's going around in the world.
Yeah.
Being that eye of the storm that we talk about a lot of the time. And like, how do you do that? You literally just need to sit with yourself and focus on your breath and just start to bring your attention back inwards to feeling what's going on in your own body, feel the emotions that are coming up for you. If you're feeling sadness, yes, definitely a lot of it will be the collective sadness that we're just all feeling into, because there's just panic everywhere right now. So it's hard to not tap into that for sure.
Yeah.
But you may just have a sense of sadness coming up because it's something coming up for you as well. So it's not that you're doing anything wrong or anything like that, or you don't have to address it because, it's just the collective happening. It's like, it's coming up in you for some reason too.
Yeah.
So your job, if you like, as Nat sort of said, is to release that emotion. Like, that's going to help the whole consciousness of everything if we all can just process our own emotions and not get caught up as much as we can in the drama and the uncertainty, and knowing that this will pass. It will pass. Like, we'll all be okay at the end of the day. Like, we will get through this. Okay, maybe people are going to lose some money, people are going to lose some jobs. It's going to look really scary for a little bit of time perhaps, but that's only based on what we know or what we think life should look like. This is just a new thing, a new time that we're entering right now. And none of us have probably gone through anything like this before. Maybe some people that went through First World War or things like that have had some experience with situations like this, but for the majority of us, we've never had this experience before. So it's like, this is a new experience. So nobody knows how to be, nobody knows how to respond. We're all, we have to I think this is a really good opportunity for the world to kind of remember that we are all one, we're all connected.
Yes.
The virus knows no borders. Like, everybody gets the same symptoms. Everybody will suffer the same way in terms of potential income loss, or maybe you might have a loved one that passes away, or like, everyone will be affected by this. So there's no difference to me sitting here in Australia and somebody in China that's kind of gone through maybe the height of, well, who knows, maybe you've gone through the height of all this right now. There's no difference. Like, it's all the one consciousness. Like, that person feels just the same as I do. Like, it's kind of, everyone will be affected in the same way. So if we can remember that as well too, it's just like looking out for others as well as ourselves, knowing that we're all connected, that we're all the one consciousness, we're all aspects of the same consciousness being. So treat others the same way that you want to be treated as well too. So there's a lot of panic buying going on. There's a lot of people that are kind of really abusing staff at like shops and things like that because they're afraid. And it's really interesting just to see the level of fear that people have got right now. And it's understandable, but it's also, we have to take responsibility for our own fear as well too. Like, we can't just project it out on everybody else because everyone else is feeling the same thing. So the thing that we can do to start taking control is to start addressing our own emotions that are coming up. Like, that's how we can have some certainty, start to go, okay, I'm feeling this way right now. I can take responsibility for that, and start to sit with those emotions, as Nat was saying, and actually know that we're okay at the end of the day, we're all okay. It's going to look crazy for a bit, but it's time to sort of draw in our energy and keep it focused on ourselves as much as we can, from the perspective of knowing that we're the power. I don't mean you don't think about other people. That's what that means. It just means it's not being selfish by sort of focusing on yourself and sitting in your own power. That's actually where you can have the most impact and the most assistance to somebody else too, is by being calm, being the eye of the storm right now too, and you'll help other people to calm down too, which is going to be much more effective in terms of just purely from a health perspective. People being stressed out and panicky is the worst thing you can be doing for your immune system, let alone diets and things like that. There's so much things we could be doing right now to help ourselves, like eating really healthily, doing all the practices that they're telling us to do, like not, washing your hands all the time and keeping a distance from people and all those normal practical things that we should be doing too, but just from a, that mental, energetic sort of sense too. Like, the more we can keep calm and not panicked, the better our immune system actually is, and you probably got more chance of not getting it or not getting bad. So it's just like something to keep in mind too, is that our mind is super powerful and all of these things as well, that we can do something to help ourselves in this process.
And another observation or question might be, have you put power into the outside world? Like,
Mm.
The ego is a great one for putting, looking for security in the outside world. That's one of the things that it will do. And oftentimes we feel that our jobs are totally secure. The banks are totally secure. The financial system's always going to be there. The health system's always going to be like all these things that we think are certain, so certain in our world. Come to a time where those things could collapse in any moment. And no doubt we'll actually see some of that. I think, we probably haven't seen half of what's going to happen yet. And I feel like it's a time to actually observe that and realize that there is no certainty in the outside world whatsoever.
Never will.
Any of it could be ripped away in a heartbeat, because that's the nature of the outside world. It changes constantly. Reality is meant to change constantly. And because it changes all the time, the only place you can actually find true certainty and stability is actually inside. So when the outside world is going crazy and things are changing quickly and things were there and now they're not there and they're being taken away or it's collapsed or whatever's happening, and we see this, like if we have a relationship breakup or we lose our job, well, now this is sort of really in our face right now for all of us.
Like everyone
facing this, possibly, or more than likely a recession after this. So like we just get through the health stuff and then we've got to deal with the financial stuff that goes with it. So we're going to get hit pretty hard. But it also, to me, goes to show that there is no certainty in the outside world, and those things are not fixed. They can be ripped away at any time. And so you do have to go inward at that point and find that certainty within, because that certainty does sit there. 100% it sits there. So when you know who you truly are and you know that the power is always with you, then it doesn't matter what goes on in the outside world. If suddenly those investments of yours get ripped away, it's like, yeah, that really sucks, definitely, and it's going to hurt, but you're actually okay. You're still breathing and you're actually going to be okay.
Yeah.
So, or you lose your job, or I don't know, you have you get involved in the health side of it, and it's like you're actually okay.
Yes.
So it really is forcing us to go inward and find that certainty within, not looking and putting our power in the outside world all the time.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is a very big, I'd say, a wake-up call for the world. Like it's not.
It is, really.
I think it is. Yeah, not saying that this has to happen for this to happen. Like we could be doing this on our own. By everyone just sort of starting to look for themselves and take their own power back. We don't need big outside things to kind of wake us up. But okay, this is here. It's happening. So it will have this effect. There'll be a lot of things brought to the light, I think, over the next 6 months, a year, who knows, about how this was all handled. Maybe things will come out about governments that we weren't aware of. I think a lot of things will come into the light and people will start to take back their own power. They'll see, it feels like that we've been giving a very big opportunity, if you like, to kind of go, I don't have to wait for somebody to tell me what to do or how to act or how to feel in these situations. So I was saying to Nat just before, I was watching a program here in Australia called Q&A last night, and it was all about the coronavirus, and they had a panel of different experts from all different arenas. So there was a couple of politicians on there. There was a couple of a guy that's very adept and trained up in handling pandemics and responses to pandemics, and he was key in Australia's fight against the HIV virus back in the day when that was quite a big thing in the world. And there was a business lady who is like head of business council and things. So there was very different perspectives. There's a doctor who's head of a lot of the testing here in Australia. So really varied perspectives, but it was just amazing to kind of see the level of panic that can come out of when information is uncertain, and just kind of, the whole point of the show was trying to bring people some certainty so that they could kind of give, get clear on, just so they could, nobody knows what's going to happen. Like they weren't going to give answers in terms of that, but just so people kind of knew, okay, I've got a bit of a plan. I can handle this now. I know what I've got to do. But it kind of came out from the end of the show, like some of the people, particularly on the panel, just gave so much uncertainty that I think people probably got more panic by the end of the show. But I was looking at some of the comments afterwards, and there was a lady there saying, oh, I just don't know what to do with my kids, like, because Australia hasn't started to lock down schools yet. There's a few private schools that are starting to, and I think it will be coming very soon. But the government hasn't made that decision yet. And so this lady was kind of going, oh, I'm feeling really anxious, I don't know what to do kind of thing. Like, I really want to keep my kids home, but are we allowed to? And she kind of used those words, and I kind of went, like, a few other mothers had kind of got on there, jumped on. And I mean, I don't have kids, but it's just from that perspective of, you know, I've got nieces and nephews that are at school now, and I'm sort of thinking about things like that too, about kids being at school and whether that should be happening. And I just said, George, you've got to remember, it's your kids, your choice. You do what you want. Like, it's, you've got to remember, we've all each got our own power in these situations to make our own decisions. And you have to just start acting on your own intuition. Like, if you feel to keep your kids home, then you keep your kids home. Like, it's just, nobody can tell you not to do that. Like, it's kind of, at the end of the day, we're in a very unprecedented time, and you just got to start trusting your own intuition on things and doing what you feel is the right thing to do for you and your family. And it doesn't mean, you know, to hell with everybody else. It doesn't mean like you start doing this panic buying in the supermarket that everyone's doing and screw everybody else as long as I'm okay. It doesn't mean that. It's more the sense of making the decisions, and they might be hard decisions for you to do too, but that feel right for you, that feel certain for you. So for Nat, it was to pull out of that house sit. Okay, that doesn't feel a nice thing to do, but you've got to kind of look after yourself in those situations too, because you may end up in a worse situation that you can't get out of because you're trying to be nice to somebody. So this starts to show up patterns of people pleasing, or not wanting to let people down, or wanting to be seen as a nice person. And so it's going to show up a lot of stuff for people this coming however many months, you know, we're going to be looking down the barrel of this. It is going to show up a lot of our patterns where we kind of self-sacrifice, or we put others first, or maybe we don't think about others. You know, it's going to show up all of those kind of things for us. I think we're all going to be in for an interesting journey. Who knows what's going to happen for all of us, but I think it's a massive opportunity for the world to wake up right now and to start to take our power back as sovereign beings that we are, and to know that we are infinite and we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this as well. So
definitely. Yeah. It was very interesting times, that's for sure. Yeah. All right, well, I'll leave it there. And we'll be back probably in the next few days to have more of a chat. I'll be in Mexico.
Let us know how you're feeling with everything going on too. Like, it's there's a real mix of I have to say, definitely in the beginning I was like, what's all this fuss about? Like, what's all the panic about?
Yeah, definitely feeling the same. Like, oh, let's not buy into the bullshit of, you know, media and the hype and all this sort of stuff. Everyone wants to get on the bandwagon, and fear just breeds fear and all this sort of stuff. I definitely was the same. Yeah.
And then it's kind of gone, you know, you can definitely quite easily go the other way, where you're kind of going, full scale panic, you know, kind of like, oh my God, like, this is going everywhere. And sort of like, you might flip between the two, and that's okay as well. Like, it's nothing wrong with how we're all feeling. Like, at the end of the day too, we just got to allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling right now as well. But also too, just kind of coming back as much as you can into that center place too. It's just like, this is actually happening. This is actually a big thing.
It is happening. Yep.
Regardless of what we think about it, it's happening. We're all going to be affected by it. There is going to be some big major shifts for every single person around the world pretty much with this right now. Long term, there's probably going to be some changes too, and we all just have to kind of write it out. But we don't have to kind of give away our power too either, and kind of feel like everything's out of our control and the whole world's going to hell in a handbasket kind of thing. Like, it's kind of, it's not the case either kind of thing. It's just we need to find that center ground and know that it's okay to kind of, we might swing a bit too, and that's okay. Yeah, like, it's just use your tools that you know how to use, and reach out to people if you feel like you need to talk to somebody. Like, it's kind of, it doesn't mean anything if you feel afraid. Like, it's not a reflection on you that you're not using your spiritual tools, or you're or that you're a bad person, you're not in alignment, whatever those things want to tell you. There is some stories going around about that in spiritual community. So it's kind of, so it's just, reach out to us. We're going to do some more talks around all this stuff too, because it's really important, I think, right now.
It is. So. Yeah, very much so. All right. Well, self-care, self-compassion, self-awareness, all the name of the game right now, and listening to your intuition. Definitely following that, regardless of what the outside world is showing you right now.
Yeah. Good time. Yep.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, we'll catch you again shortly.
Yep.
Okay.